Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. As usual, I'll give a few seconds for everybody to log in and then we'll start. And I usually remind you, you are listening to me with a little bit of delay, about 30 seconds. So that's why sometimes we are a little bit out of sync with question and answers, but not too much. Hopefully it shouldn't be affecting our communication. Very well. So again, I would say we can start. Good afternoon. Thank you for connecting and for taking some time. I wanted to organize another moment of sharing of things with you, although we know that the situation from last week didn't really change in terms of instructions we had from authorities. Still, well, first of all, I like to even virtually meet with you and to hear how you're doing in this situation. And one thing I want to start with is by thanking you and all the staff, teaching staff and non-teaching staff in NABA for the extra effort that we are all making in this situation. All people here and you also, I know it's not easy to deal with this. We need to work harder, we need to think of other things. So everybody is doing really the extra mile to make sure that everything works. That's really the best we can do. We try to improve. We know some things are not ideal now, so we'll try to fix and make sure that everything will work even better. What I can assure you of is that we are really working 100% as much as we can to make sure that everything works at our best. So you have this commitment from us. So thank you to you and to everyone for the big effort, and we need to stay united in these times so that we make sure that everything works. Having said that, I have some updates for you. So what I suggest is listen closely to what I'm gonna say to you now, and then we'll make some questions. So it's easier for us because you are 180 people connected. It's not easy for me to follow. Obviously, I'm at home alone. There's not a staff who filters through questions. So you can help me by waiting for me to finish to tell you what I need to tell you. And then if anything remains unclear, please, you'll be very welcome to ask me questions. Thank you, Alessandro, for your support, especially in the social and in the informal communication. Oh, Igor, very nice to hear from you. And Paolo, we also have some of the teachers here and some of the staff from Coordinamento and Segreteria. Sometimes they intervene in the chat, many times by using capital font. So you can actually, they are helping me out in responding to some of your questions. So take a look at the chat also, because some of the replies to what you ask also are in there. So let me just get my notes, and I have some communication for you to know. So I will start with online teaching, online activity. Again, now this week we changed the pace of our teaching. At first, we thought it was only a couple of weeks. Now we know it's until the 3rd of April. So obviously that changes things. Some things we know they can be taught online somehow. Some others, they cannot. We are very aware of this. We are very aware that labs access advanced computer applications. There is a limit to what we can do online. We know that. So I can assure you, I cannot really tell you now how we are going to make up for that, because that very much depends on when we will be able to go back to normality. At the moment, I don't have more information than you. Whatever you can find in the news, whatever you can find from the official channels, that's what we know. Our internal channels with the Ministry of Education, they did not provide any indication in advance. So whatever we have, you have. So that's all I can say to you now. So I don't know if after the 3rd of April, things will go back to normality. What I urge you is there are obviously a lot of things going around, a lot of voices, a lot of unofficial voices from everybody. We will stick only to what is official. So obviously we plan for the worst, but we will make decisions and communicate them to you only after we have official news. Otherwise, we create a sense of panic, and we may not find the best solution. So that's something I wanted to tell you. What does it change for us in terms of academic provision? We are taking class online now, and believe me, also for the teachers, this is really harder than usual. We all prefer to be with you in person, and actually for us to work from home without seeing you in campus, it is much harder. It's not as nice. We all chose to work in university also because we like to be with you. We like the contact with our students. We like to be able to share and build together projects and creative applications. We cannot do it the way we're used to, and that makes it harder for us too. So that's to say that we also miss you in terms of human contact, and that's why we try to keep our activities even though in an online mode, because apart from what we are obliged to do by the law, which is one thing, we are also trying to keep a human connection with our normal life. We are not in normal times. I'm not saying this to pretend that nothing is happening and that things are normal. Things are not normal, and it would be wrong to pretend that they are. Still, we need to be in touch. We need to have connections with other people. So I think we all miss everybody. We all miss each other. And to continue an academic activity, I think it's important to go through these times also from a human point of view and not only from the university point of view. Then we obviously are an institution. We have commitments towards you and towards a lot of stakeholders. We are fully aware, and we will do whatever it takes to make sure we uphold these commitments. That's also another aspect. But we will be able to give you some more certainties when we will know with more details when the situation will be back to normal. We have seen that some things work well, or fairly well in online teaching. And what I'm going to tell you is feedback that I've got from you students directly in some cases, from the teachers, from the course leaders, and from all the staff. So again, if you have comments on this, it will help us to change what we do online so that it's more suitable or fit to your needs. So the first thing is that we saw that you prefer, or that's our impression, you prefer when there is some form of live contact, online contact that is synchronous, like this, or in Blackboard when you can also speak and share your screen. So we had a meeting similar to this with all the teachers in NABA, and we will make an effort to make more content live with you. That opens another problem, but some of you are not in Italy anymore. Some of you are back to their countries. We have a wide range of different time zones, so it's not easy for you to attend because maybe it's strange times during the night. So we'll make a mixture. We'll try to record everything we do live so you can watch it later. Obviously, we have students from Mexico to China that cover probably 18 or 20 different time zones. So we'll try to make it for everybody. So that's also a BP, something I wanted to mention. We will also make an effort, we talked to tell you what is going to happen week by week and give you better information on what are the activities. Because subjects are so different, we didn't give fixed instructions to teachers on what to do. As usual, what we do is that we leave autonomy to teachers because they're professionals and they know what's best for their subjects. So that means it's impossible for us, like for me to say, this is what is going to happen for all classes. Every teacher needs to do that independently. We will make sure we talk together and we'll try to be more precise in telling you what to expect from each weeks of classes. So that's for you to be able to better organize. Again, we'll try to record everything, so we'll maybe overcome the time zone problem. And we are trying to be mindful of materials. We know it's not easy to get materials, and sometimes it's expensive, so we're trying to limit it. We'll try to limit it and really try to have you procure whatever is easier. So then we have an issue with whatever is digital and software, because many of you don't have licenses. So now this is a double problem. Like for us, at the moment, the issue with Adobe licenses, I can explain it to you here. It's a legal thing. Adobe does not permit us to buy licenses and give them to you as a third party. We try to ask in many years over time, so every year we ask, and their policy, it's not ours, is students, they have to make licenses with us directly. We can buy licenses only for our machines in NABA and install them on machines that are owned and managed by NABA. That's one first problem. However, we have two solutions that probably will be able to roll out in the next few days. So it's not official yet because we want to work out the technicalities, but one thing will be our IT departments, that I thank very much because they are really working intensively these days. They have found a way to make it possible for you at home to connect with our machines in NABA in the computers lab, as if you were in NABA. Obviously, that depends on your connection, so it may be slow. It's like a remote desktop sort of system. This way, you could use our computers, which will remain on 24/7, and use the software like if you were sitting in front of the computer. So maybe that can work for static applications. Obviously, if you do animation, if you do motion graphics, if you do video, that's not really ideal because it's a little choppy. Sometimes the frame rate is not as precise as if you were working on a local machine. So that's one thing, but still for many things it works. Then Adobe has also released a statement in which they say they will give free licenses to students for a certain period of time due to this situation. And the institutions had to apply, so we have applied. And so if there is a system for you to have free licenses from Adobe, we will let you know, or they will let you know. I don't know how this works. They only said fill out these forms, which we did, and we will have more news when they give them to us. So that's something that it's possible. What is labs and access to other resources? Obviously, we will need to make up for what we are not doing online, because obviously we are not doing everything. So we will. We know also the priorities. We know master students have certain needs that are also related to work experience, which is more difficult now to do. Postgraduate and undergraduate students also have different needs. So we know the needs. That's something I want to tell you. Sometimes you write to us assuming that we are simply ignoring things or going for the easy solution. I can assure you there is no easy solution, and we are not really trying to cut corners and find something that is suitable for everybody. So we have different priorities, you have different students, so we really try to consider everybody's needs. Obviously, you also need to understand that this situation, the whole global situation, penalizes everybody. So nobody is accepted from some penalization in their normal lives. So we all are affected, and we all are experiencing that things are not going the way we wanted. So we try to fix whatever we can, but obviously we cannot fix everything. So everybody is making an effort to go on in this situation. So that's really something, please keep that in mind. So that's for classes and online content. Now I'm going to talk about exams that are not thesis. So first we'll deal with exams. Because we don't know if with the 3rd of April we will be able to go back to normality, we are rescheduling now some exams that we did not hold in the past session. How this is going to work? I will want to tell you that I will try to give you as much advance as we can, but basically we are rescheduling exams that can be done online, and this decision is firstly up to your teachers. So Each professor will tell us if it makes sense for their subject to be done remotely, the examination, and if so, we'll make a schedule of exams for whoever of you want and can take exams very, very soon, like in the next couple of weeks. It's optional, you don't have to. As any exam, obviously you can decide not to take them and take them in the next session. There are students, and especially international students, who need to continue and take exams and graduate whatever it takes. So that's an option for you to have. Some exams will not be possible to have them online, so we will have to wait until we are able to meet in person again. Then you need to know also that at the moment, at the time being, we are not authorized to give online content outside of the times of restrictions. So let's wait and see how long it takes, and then we'll talk about how can we make up for that. Still in exams, then once we know when we can gather again and continue with normality, then we will schedule new exam sessions. So this is what I can tell you at the moment. As for thesis, there are 3 solutions. So again, please listen first, and then you ask me questions. So first possibility, those are all possibilities. Those are all possibilities that we have already emailed students who are due to graduate soon with the option, and they have at 95% already responded. So it shouldn't be anything new to you who need to graduate. It's for the others also to know. The first possibility is to graduate with a remote graduation in the next following days and weeks. It's an option for those who need to graduate for whatever reason, because maybe they need to renew their permit of stay, or they have enrolled to a new university and they need to issue their graduation documents. So whatever is the reason, some people at the moment is around 60, they need to graduate now or as soon as possible. So for them, it's optional, like we don't oblige anybody to do this way. You will be able to graduate remotely within the next couple of weeks, a few weeks. So that's the first round of graduation we will hold. The second round, we are scheduling graduations, hopefully in presence, but there is no way we can know now. It's a hope we make for May. Early weeks of May, we are trying to make a calendar of graduation, which hopefully we will be able to do normally. That's the best scenario. Second case, we'll have to do them with closed doors if we cannot have a normal activity. If we cannot have a normal activity at all, then we'll have to, defer them even more. But no, I don't mean classes, I mean thesis. So other students opted for this solution to try and hope for a graduation normal in May. And that's the second option. The third option is to skip those 2 and go to July. So, as you know, normally July would be fuori corso, so overdue. For this case, obviously there won't be any additional fees and taxes. You will be able to graduate in July normally. So that's the 3 options we are giving at the moment. And Segreteria is trying to contact every single person who needs to graduate in order to understand what is their preference. Dear ones one, it doesn't really help that you post the same question over and over. Please wait until I respond to everybody. Okay, thank you. So other questions about thesis? Just a few seconds for questions about the thesis. We will give details on how it's going to work with the online thesis, so there will be more instructions later. There will be both an online submission and obviously a sort of video presentation, yes. With the visa, you need to refer to the authorities or to our administration, obviously, but we can't know everything. Erasmus students, that depends on single institutions. So contact our Erasmus office and the institutions you come from, because everybody are doing different things. I know that sometimes Italian bureaucracy and bureaucracy in general is not easy. I think you can go to the post office because they are open, if I'm not mistaken. So, for who is, for example, from China and cannot see things in Blackboard, I'm sorry, at the moment we don't have a solution that it's feasible. I know you use sometimes firewalls. I know there is a problem because they are not entirely permitted in your country. At the moment, we don't have a platform that is available all over the world. So we are trying to see what we can do to give you the recordings, but again, that's not very easy technically because it's difficult to find a platform that is available, for example, in countries like China. So try to connect to Blackboard as much as you can. The period of online exams and all the schedules will come from Secretaria, so you will have them as soon as they are ready, and we will try to give you as much advance as we can. And obviously, Shagun, if I knew when we will be able to go on campus, I would have told you already. So please try to be smart. And there is no information on this now. And read the news, go to the official channels, document yourself. This is something you can do to help everybody. Find information from official channels. This is where you should go. On our end, obviously, there's nothing I can tell you more than that. I don't know if we will be able to come back on the 3rd. Hopefully, yes, maybe not. We will know as soon as the authorities will tell us. And once they will tell us, obviously, we will tell you. That's really what we will do. Again, Erasmus, there was a communication sent out from our Erasmus office. If you haven't received it, write to them. And that also depends on your institution, because it depends. Thank you, Alessandro. Also, we will try to keep you informed of what exams can and what exams cannot be taken online. Let me see if I have other things I wanted to tell you. Okay, so again, as I said, Noam, we can continue running online content as long as the situation remains like this. So there may be different scenarios. We may try to postpone some things, but obviously we cannot postpone indeterminately because you need to know that there will be an end to this postponement. So we will be able to know how much we will postpone activities and what is the compression and the calendar that we can keep with all the recovering only once we know once when we go back to normal. We cannot make plans beforehand. I know, Fabiola, this will happen after the 3rd of April. We will let you know. There is going to be a fashion show, Adi. What we are looking up now is whether it is possible to keep it in June or if we have to postpone. That's valid for all activities. So now what we are trying to understand is maybe there are some things that we schedule for June and July which cannot happen in June and July. So we are preparing to see the effect of moving them. As you can imagine, whatever we decide to do have an impact on all of you. Some people prefer to postpone, some people cannot stay any longer. We need to really take all the needs into account. So we will make decisions once we have more certainty. Your diploma, if you present online, you receive it via mail as usual. If you want to talk about unsubscriptions or things, please talk to Secretaria. We have procedures for that. And Shay, if you have a long question, ask. I'm not sure I can reply, but you can try to ask. Thank you, Simone, for your reply. At the moment, I'm not able to say anything about refunds because we don't know how much this is going on. So on this, we will only be able to reply once the situation is finished. We cannot really make any statement before when the situation is still uncertain. Mariana, we replied to that already. Shay, I know you're very productive in your questions. I responded already to these. We asked our teachers to be more precise in the instructions. So we hope you will receive better information from every teacher. Obviously, we know you have a need for more communication because things may be different. So we'll try to communicate with more details. Fanny, obviously we don't have a plan because we don't know if the school is opening in April. And with permit of stay, you really need to talk with the authorities. I don't know. I'm not an expert on visas, but we have a secretariat. They have some expertise. They may be able to help you. And again, our offices are open. So NABA is closed to the public. You cannot go there, but please use the normal channels of communication. Sometimes you write me directly questions that obviously need to be directed to our offices. If I would be able to run a whole academy like NABA alone, obviously, that there would be science fiction. So honestly, I cannot respond to your single issues independently. That's why we are more than 250 people working at NABA. So if you write to me directly with questions that are normally for Secretaria of Coordinamento, you're actually slowing down the process because I need to get to that email and I received an average of 250 a day. Once I get to the email, all I can do is forward it to the appropriate office. And maybe it takes me days to get to the email. So please go to my NABA, find out who is the best office to address your issue and use the normal channels of communication. That really speeds up things for you. That's valid for Yuxing, Sanjana. Absolutely, Shay, you can always talk to your teachers directly. Please make sure you have an open channel with your teachers. Yes. And also, Coordinamento, course leaders, Secretaria, Erasmus office, International office, Career Service, they are all open. So talk to them and you should know by now who is the best person to address your issues. Excellent, thank you. So in general, I see I don't know what is your complaint about. If you are not clear or happy with whatever is the content, my advice is speak to the teacher directly. You're both adults. You can have a conversation open about what you think it works and what you think it doesn't. That's the best option. If that doesn't work, talk to your course leader and they will tell you how to proceed. We'll give you instructions for online thesis, obviously. So again, you have a relatore, you have somebody who is following you, you have a teacher, you have a course leader. On this, I please ask you, use your normal channels of communication. I know it's difficult for whoever has to do labs. We'll try to make extra sessions for thesis, extra U. Obviously, we are also subject to the restrictions, so we cannot open the labs until we can. I see sometimes it seems that I am really asking you a lot. I know it's not easy to maintain, the normal channels of communication these days, and you try to fix your situation because obviously, as everybody, you all are in distress, and this situation is difficult for everybody. In general, I really see you are doing your best as students. I see some of the classes. Sometimes I pop in and listen. I see your social. I see you really make an effort to go through these times, in a human and in an effective way. So for this, you obviously are making a very big effort, and I thank you for that. And I would say you're also demonstrating to be very mature and understanding of this situation. We are also making an effort, so we all basically are making an effort. So apart from the institutional recommendation, really what I think is important in these crisis situations and abnormalities is let's not lose it. Let's remain calm, let's not create panic, let's have faith that everybody is doing their best to make the most that we can. Nobody is really trying to take advantage from anybody. We are all really trying to make it as good as we can for you, and I can see that you're also trying to make an effort to make things work. So it's important not to lose the way of being human and understanding as we are doing now. Yes, Catalina, obviously we are not starting straight away. Once things are back to normal, we'll give some advance, and whoever can come back will come back. Whoever cannot, we will have ways to try to meet their needs. So I'll stay another few minutes to see if there are any other questions. In the meantime, please tell your classmates that these will be available with the same link. If they could not participate, they can rewatch and have some of the answers to their replies. No, Mattia, I'm sorry, I'm not summing up all the contents of this communication. You can watch it again. I've been talking half an hour. There's no way that I can sum up. Polyme is now really doing this. Polyme, in some courses, they have stopped at all their activity. It is something that we cannot really always do. In this, the public and the private have different levels of autonomy. That's a protection mechanism for students mainly that the state uses. So there is more control on the private institutions than there is on the public. The public are more autonomous. That's because the private institutions, because there are some economics logics going around, they're not always free to do whatever they want, because that may impact the students' experience. Like to save money, they could decide to, for example, stop classes. So in this case, the state controls the private more closely. In our case, for example, we, for the moment, cannot stop activity. That's something we cannot do. So we were asked to continue online, and this is what we are doing. So no, we cannot cancel the semester, Mariana. That's really something that's impossible to make. We will have to make up for something. We cannot just cancel things. It's not something we are allowed to do. Nava Design Awards are postponed, of course. Everything that was postponed, we will try to recover as best as we can. Obviously, yes, Fabiola, we are considering extending. With extensions, we need to be careful because some people will be happy to extend, some others cannot extend, sometimes even financially. I'll give you an example. Obviously, there won't be any fee from us, but to extend activities, for example, some people have their rent that expires in July, or some people go home during the summer to save a couple of months on living in Milan, that it's very expensive. So extending also means forcing you to make even more expenses, just for living in Milan. So it's something we need to think very carefully. If possible, Serena, you will start the graduation project. Yes. Postpone, Mariana, is also a possibility, but again, it's not easy to just postpone things. So yes, we try to be optimistic, obviously. So let's try to hope for the best and that we can soon go back to our campus. Yuanzu, you can always apply for that. You speak to Secretaria and you follow the usual procedure. Laura, we can, you should know now that obviously I can't ask the teachers to do the same thing because things needs to be done differently from subject to subject. So we do coordinate, but we have to leave some autonomy. Otherwise, it would be like a sort of a factory and not a creative academy. So we did ask them to be more frequent in their communication, yes, but we also need to leave them in autonomy to decide what is best for you in terms of how to teach their subject. Yes, Giovanna, we have had a meeting today with teachers so that they can be more present. And I'll wait another couple of minutes and then I will close the live stream. So if you have a last round of questions. I'll just make another statement. I can't remember if I did it already. Forgive me if I did, because I'm doing a lot of streaming with different students and stakeholders. So some people were worried that NABA wanted to become a sort of an online university. We are not. We don't, I mean, we try to enjoy even online classes if we can, because obviously we take also joy in our work, but we are not interested in becoming an online university. So as soon as this is finished, obviously we will try to get back to normality, teaching the way we always have done. Apart, because we are learning something. So some things we saw that maybe through Blackboard work well. So we will learn from that too. So maybe we'll introduce some new activities, but no, we are not becoming an online institution at all. Well, the intensive workshops, guys, we'll see if we can do them. If we can, we will. If we cannot, we postpone them. Maybe September. Good. So again, thank you for being here. Believe me, it's also a pleasure for me to have some contact with you, because I cannot have it in campus, and it's normally normal for me to meet you and to have a chat with you in the courtyard or in the cafeteria. So at least there is an occasion here for me to speak directly to you, which I enjoy. So thank you for participating. Please, again, that's not for NABA only, in general, for your lives. Try not to give in to fear or hatred. Let's really try to be realistic but positive. This thing will finish and we will go back to our lives. Things will be different, but again, do not discriminate or hate other people, and please, please follow the instructions from the authorities. Stay home, don't go out, don't try to be smart, and try to go around or meet anyway. It's really important that you don't. It's really important that everybody stays home. That's my last recommendation to you. Again, big hug to you from my home virtually, and take care, and we'll make another webinar soon. So we'll meet again soon. Thank you and have a good evening.